Once upon a time, on the outskirts of a remote village, there stood an old and abandoned house. The villagers had given this house the name the Cursed House and kept their distance from it. However, this story began on a day when one of the village's youths, named Oliver, decided to test his courage and curiosity by exploring the house. Oliver, along with a friend, decided to venture into the old house. With a mixture of fear and curiosity, they approached the rusty door, which creaked open when pushed lightly as they stepped inside. They were greeted by a dusty and dark corridor. The inside of the house seemed as though it hadn't been used for years. As they advanced, they began to hear strange sounds, footsteps, whispers, and unusual murmurs. But the most frightening of all was a faint child's crying coming from one of the rooms. Oliver and his friend followed the direction of the sound. When they opened the door, they found an old baby cradle. Inside the cradle lay an empty baby blanket. Yet the sound of a baby crying persisted. When they attempted to rock the cradle, the crying became even more intense. They hesitated for a moment, and then abruptly overturned the cradle before fleeing the house. However, from that day forward, Oliver and his friend changed. They both felt as though something was constantly following them, and at night, they would hear the crying of a baby and witness strange shadows around their surroundings. Fear began to consume them. Finally, unable to bear it any longer, they confessed the truth to the villagers. The village elders informed them that the house had once been an orphanage that had tragically burned down in a terrible fire long ago. It was believed that the crying was the ghosts of the children who had perished in the fire. With the help of the village elders, Oliver and his friend embarked on a journey to cleanse the house and bring peace to the restless spirits. Eventually, silence returned, and the cursed house remained as a haunted place that no one dared to explore. Anneliese Michel was a young German woman who lived in Klingenberg, Germany. In the 1970s, she came from a devoutly religious family and had a history of epilepsy. However, her symptoms began to worsen over time, and she started experiencing severe mood swings, depression, and hallucinations. Anneliese and her family believed that her condition was not just medical, but rather a result of demonic possession. They sought help from both medical professionals and the Catholic Church. Over a period of several years, Anneliese underwent numerous medical treatments, but her condition continued to deteriorate. In 1975, the family convinced local priests to perform an exorcism on Anneliese. This began a series of exorcism sessions that spanned several months. During these sessions, Anneliese displayed increasingly bizarre and terrifying behaviors. She would growl, speak in strange language, and reportedly exhibited superhuman strength. The case attracted the attention of the church authorities and legal authorities alike. The priests and Anneliese's parents were eventually put on trial for negligent homicide. Anneliese herself died on July 1, 1976, at the age of 23 due to malnutrition and dehydration, a result of her refusal to eat during the exorcisms. The court found the priests and Anneliese's parents guilty of manslaughter, and they were sentenced to 6 months in jail, which was later suspended, and 3 years of probation. The case is seen as a tragic and disturbing example of the intersection of mental illness, religious belief, and superstition.